Good morning, everybody. Today is Wednesday, May 6, 2020. Welcome to the Bible reading party. Oh, I don't know what's going on there. It looks like part of my frame disappeared. It's always something, right? And I didn't see this until I came on. So let's see if I can fix it really quick so we can get this party started. We're going to get this party started. It's a Bible reading party. All right. Well, that was interesting. I don't know why it disappeared, but I got it back. And now that we're back, welcome. It is now 7:11 a.m. in Texas. Today is Witness Day, May 6, 2020. Yesterday was Cinco de Mayo, and I didn't even acknowledge it. With so much going on nowadays, I didn't even think about it. But to all my Mexican brothers and sisters, happy belated Cinco de Mayo. Something got in the way. Let me put these business cards up. Put those right there. And I'll put this right here. All right, how's everybody doing today? Happy hump day. Oh boy, I'm making a mess. I know what I'm gonna have to do really quick so I can keep this moving along. Oh, first things first, I gotta turn that notification off of my phone. I gotta clean up this spill. I'm getting it together. Is it something important? Is it somebody trying to get my attention? Okay, so we're gonna do this. Put that on Do Not Disturb so that doesn't do that again. And yes, clean up this mess. And we're ready. We are ready, steady, ready. Early bird in the room. Today is Eva Frazier saying, I gave a thumbs up, everyone. I wish everyone a blessed day. We get the sanitizer in the hands. Stay safe, everyone. The Wiz says morning. Nightbot's in the room. Nicole says good morning, 40 fam. Nicole says bless the like button. Katat and Cooking Mama's Homestead. Good morning. Life of Key. Good morning. Let's see. Nicole says Worship Wednesday and Katat and Cooking Mama's Homestead. 8 in the room. Please like and thank you. Thank you, Miss Moderator, for reminding everybody of the importance of liking the chat. It keeps everything nice and healthy, and it lets YouTube know that enough people like it so that maybe they should recommend it to others. We will be reading from the book of Ruth today, if I'm not mistaken. I think we will be reading from the book of Ruth. Let me turn to my page and get us all on one accord. This is the study guide that I'm looking at here for anybody interested. This is a woman's guide to reading the Bible in a year, which is what I'm doing. A life-changing journey into the heart of God. Diane Storts is the author, and if we go to the contents, we will see what is being read this week. See how they have it laid out. You got the cover, title page, dedication, stories of the journey. I don't mention that like ever, but it's like little testimonies of the people who participated in this book. You got the guidelines if you want to use this for groups. A little piece on the Bible we read today, a breakdown of the books of the Bible, and then the weeks of the journey, which is what I pretty much focus on. So I've been through week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. And now I'm right here in week 19, darkness and light. That's where I'm at. So darkness and light. We read the final 5 chapters of Judges this week, and we are going on to the book of Ruth. It says here, the book of Ruth tells a completely different kind of story from those years. Hold on, let me go back. The final 5 chapters of Judges depart from a chronological presentation. The distressing events recounted there are presented out of order to emphasize the great spiritual decline the nation of Israel experienced during the era of the Judges, but the book of Ruth tells a completely different kind of story from those years. Ruth, a young Moabite widow, chose to be a follower of the God of Israel. As a result of Ruth's faithfulness, God not only provided food and shelter for Ruth and her mother-in-law, but also a husband for Ruth. Ruth's story also illustrates the loyal love and redemption plan of God himself. And so, going on here, this is where we're at. This was Monday. In the yellow box, you see Judges 17 through 19. Right under that, you see Judges 20 through 20. That was Tuesday. And today we're going to go through the entire book of Ruth. I don't know if that's going to be a short read or a long read, but we're going to go through the entire book of Ruth. And then jump into Corinthians tomorrow, which is the New Testament. And the checkpoints for this week. War with Benjamin's tribe, I believe that was yesterday. 2 Moabite widows, that will be today. A helpful relative. Planting and watering, running for a crown. That will be the highlights of today. Do about it. All right. Let me make sure I've acknowledged everybody in the room before I get started. And then we're going to jump into the book of Ruth. Oh, this is my Bible. Oh, by the way, this is my New Believer's Bible. This is what it looks like. First Steps for New Christians. New Living Translation, and from time to time I do use the Nelson's Compact Bible Dictionary. Let's see. All right, caught up with everybody. Judges is done. Now it's time for Ruth. It says here, the events of Ruth take place during some of the darkest days in the history of Israel. It was a time when the nation lapsed again and again into the worship of false gods. In sharp contrast to this is the shining testimony of one Gentile woman from Moab who remained faithful to God. So she wasn't even a Jew. She was a Gentile woman from Moab. It says the author is unknown. The date written is 1375 to 1050 BC, and the genre is narrative. And here is the book of Ruth. This is the book of Ruth. Chapter 1. Elimelech moves his family to Moab. In the days when the judges ruled in Israel, a severe famine came upon the land. So a man from Bethlehem in Judah left his home and went to live in the country of Moab, taking his wife and 2 sons with him. They were Ephrathites from Bethlehem in the land of Judah. And when they reached Moab, they settled there. Then Elimelech died, and Naomi was left with her 2 sons. The 2 sons married Moabite women. One married a woman named Orpah, and the other a woman named Ruth. But about 10 years later, both Mahlon and Chilion died. This left Naomi alone without her two sons or her husband. In verse 6, it says, Naomi and Ruth return. Then Naomi heard in Moab that the Lord had blessed his people in Judah by giving them good crops again. So Naomi and her daughters-in-law got ready to leave Moab to return to her homeland. With her two daughter-in-laws, she set out from the place where she had been living, and they took the road that would lead them back to Judah. But on the way, Naomi said to her two daughters-in-law, Go back to your mother's homes, and may the Lord reward you for your kindness to your husbands and to me. May the Lord bless you with the security of another marriage. Then she kissed them goodbye, and they all broke down and wept. No, they said, we want to go with you to your people. But Naomi replied, Why should you go on with me? Can I still give birth to other sons who could grow up to be your husbands? No, my daughters, return to your parents' homes, for I am too old to marry again. And if it were possible, and I were to get married tonight and bear sons, then what? Would you wait for them to grow up and refuse to marry someone else? No, of course not, my daughters. Things are far more bitter for me than for you, because the Lord himself has raised his fist against me. And again they wept together, and Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye. But Ruth clung tightly to Naomi. Look, Naomi said to her, your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and to her gods. You should do the same. But Ruth replied, Don't ask me to leave you and turn back. Wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you live, I will live. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. Wherever you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord punish me severely if I allow anything but death to separate us. When Naomi saw that Ruth was determined to go with her, she said nothing more. So the two of them continued on their journey. When they came to Bethlehem, the entire town was excited by their arrival. Is it really Naomi? The women asked. Don't call me Naomi, she responded. Instead, call me Mara, for the Almighty has made life very bitter for me. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me home empty. Why call me Naomi when the Lord has caused me to suffer and the Almighty has sent such tragedy upon me? And there is a little star next to her name, and if I look down at the bottom, the name Naomi means pleasant, and Mara means bitter. And let's see. She says, Why call me Naomi when the Lord has caused me to suffer? And in other scripts, it might be translated as, or the Lord has testified against me. In verse 22, it says, So Naomi returned from Moab, accompanied by her daughter-in-law Ruth, the young Moabite woman. They arrived in Bethlehem in late spring, at the beginning of the barley harvest. In chapter 2, Ruth works in Boaz's field. Now there was a wealthy and influential man in Bethlehem named Boaz, who was a relative of Naomi's husband Elimelech. One day, Ruth the Moabite said to Naomi, Let me go out into the harvest field to pick up the stalks of grain left behind by anyone who is kind enough to let me do it. Naomi replied, All right, my daughter, go ahead. So Ruth went out to gather grain behind the harvesters. And as it happened, she found herself working in a field that belonged to Boaz, the relative of her father-in-law, Elimelech. While she was there, Boaz arrived from Bethlehem and greeted the harvesters. The Lord be with you, he said. The Lord bless you, the harvesters replied. Then Boaz asked his foreman, Who is that young woman over there? Who does she belong to? And the foreman replied, She is the young woman from Moab who came back with Naomi. She asked me this morning if she could gather grain behind the harvesters. She has been hard at work ever since, except for a few minutes' rest in the shelter. Boaz went over and said to Ruth, "Listen, my daughter, stay right here with us when you gather grain. Don't go into any other fields. Stay right behind the young women working in my field. See which part of the field they are harvesting and then follow them. I have warned the young men not to treat you roughly, and when you are thirsty, help yourself to the water they have drawn from the well." Ruth fell at his feet and thanked him warmly. "What have I done to deserve such kindness?" she asked. "I am only a foreigner." "Yes, I know," Boaz replied, "but I also know about everything you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband. I have heard how you left your father and mother and your own land to live here among complete strangers. May the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge, reward you fully for what you have done." I hope I continue to please you, sir," she replied. "You have comforted me by speaking so kindly to me, even though I am not one of your workers." Verse 14. At mealtime, Boaz called to her, "Come over here and help yourself to some food. You can dip your bread in the sour wine." So she sat with his harvesters, and Boaz gave her some roasted grain to eat. She ate all she wanted and still had some left over. When Ruth went back to work again, Boaz ordered his young men, "Let her gather grain right among the sheaves without stopping her, and pull out some heads of barley from the bundles and drop them on purpose for her. Let her pick them up and don't give her a hard time." So Ruth gathered barley there all day, and when she beat out the grain that evening, it filled an entire basket. She carried it back into town and showed it to her mother-in-law. Ruth also gave her the roasted grain that was left over from her meal. "Where did you gather all this grain today?" Naomi asked. "Where did you work? May the Lord bless the one who helped you." So Ruth told her mother-in-law about the man in whose field she had worked. She said, "The man I worked with today is named Boaz." "May the Lord bless him," Naomi told her. "Daughter-in-law, he is showing his kindness to us as well as to your dead husband. That man is one of our closest relatives, one of our family redeemers." Then Ruth said, "What's more, Boaz even told me to come back and stay with his harvesters until the entire harvest is completed." "Good," Naomi exclaimed. "Do as he said, my daughter. Stay with his young women right through the whole harvest. You might be harassed in other fields, but you'll be safe with him." So Ruth worked alongside the women in Boaz's field and gathered grain with them until the end of the barley harvest. Then she continued to work with them through the wheat harvest in early summer, and all the while she lived with her mother-in-law. And in chapter 3, talk about Ruth at the threshing floor. And Nicole is correct. We have hit the checkpoint, talking about two widows. One day Naomi said to Ruth, chapter 3, Ruth at the threshing floor. One day Naomi said to Ruth, "My daughter, it's time that I found a permanent home for you so that you will be provided for. Boaz is a close relative of ours, and he's been very kind by letting you gather grain with his young women. Tonight he will be winnowing barley at the threshing floor. Now do as I tell you. Take a bath and put on perfume and dress in your nicest clothes. Then go to the threshing floor. But don't let Boaz see you until he has finished eating and drinking. Be sure to notice where he lies down, then go and uncover his feet and lie down there. He will tell you what to do." "I will do everything you say," Ruth replied. So she went down to the threshing floor, that night and followed the instructions of her mother-in-law. After had finished eating and drinking and was in good spirits, he lay down at the far end of the pile of grain and went to sleep. Then Ruth came quietly, uncovered his feet, and lay down. Around midnight, Boaz suddenly woke up and turned over. He was surprised to find a woman lying at his feet. "Who are you?" he asked. "I am your servant Ruth," she replied. "Spread the corner of your covering over me, for you are my family redeemer." "The Lord bless you, my daughter," Boaz exclaimed. "You are showing even more family loyalty now than you did before, for you have not gone after a younger man, whether rich or poor. Now don't worry about a thing, my daughter. I will do what is necessary, for everyone in town knows you are a virtuous woman. But while it's true that I am one of your family redeemers, there's another man who is more closely related to you than I am. Stay here tonight, and in the morning I will talk to him. If he is willing to redeem you, very well, let him marry you. But if he is not willing, then as surely as the Lord lives, I will redeem you myself. Now lie down here until morning." Verse 14. So Ruth lay at Boaz's feet until the morning, but she got up before it was light enough for people to recognize each other. For Boaz had said, "No one must know that a woman was here at the threshing floor." Then Boaz said to her, "Bring your cloak and spread it out." He measured 6 scoops of barley into the cloak and placed it on her back. Then he returned to the town. When Ruth went back to her mother-in-law, Naomi asked, "What happened, my daughter?" Ruth told Naomi everything Boaz had done for her. And she added, "He gave me these 6 scoops of barley and said, 'Don't go back to your mother-in-law empty-handed.'" Then Naomi said to her, "Just be patient, my daughter, until we hear what happens. The man won't rest until he has settled things today." Chapter 4. Boaz marries Ruth. Boaz went to the town gate and took a seat there. Just then the family redeemer he had mentioned came by. So Boaz called out to him, "Come over here and sit down, friend. I want to talk to you." So they sat down together. Then Boaz called 10 leaders from the town and asked them to sit as witnesses. And Boaz said to the family redeemer, "You know Naomi, who came back from Moab. She is selling the land that belonged to our relative Elimelech. I thought I should speak to you about it so that you can redeem it if you wish. If you want the land, then buy it here in the presence of these witnesses. But if you don't want it, let me know right away, because I am next in line to redeem it after you." The man replied, "All right, I'll redeem it." Then Boaz told him, "Of course, your purchase of the land from Naomi also requires that you marry Ruth, the Moabite widow. That way she can have children who will carry on her husband's name and keep the land in the family." "Then I can't redeem it," the family redeemer replied, "because this might endanger my own estate. You redeem the land. I cannot do it." Now in those days, it was the custom in Israel for anyone transferring a right of purchase to remove his sandal and hand it to the other party. So this publicly validated the transaction. So the other family redeemer drew off his sandal as he said to Boaz, "You buy the land." Then Boaz said to the elders and to the crowd standing around, "You are witnesses that today I have bought from Naomi all the property of Elimelech, Kilion, and Mahlon. And with the land I've acquired Ruth, the Moabite widow of Mahlon, to be my wife. This way she can have a son to carry on the family name of her dead husband and to inherit the family property here in his hometown. You are all witnesses today." Then the elders and all the people standing in the gate replied, "We are witnesses. May the Lord make this woman who is coming into your home like Rachel and Leah, from whom all the nations of Israel descended. May you prosper in Ephrathah and be famous in Bethlehem. And may the Lord give you descendants by this young woman who will be like those of our ancestor Perez, the son of Tamar, and Judah." And in verse 13, it's talking about the descendants of Boaz. So Boaz took Ruth into his home, and she became his wife. When he slept with her, the Lord enabled her to become pregnant, and she gave birth to a son. Then the women of the town said to Naomi, "Praise the Lord, who has now provided a redeemer for your family. May this child be famous in Israel. May he restore your youth and care for you in your old age. For he is the son of your daughter-in-law, who loves you and has been better to you than 7 sons." Naomi took the baby and cuddled him to her breast, and she cared for him as if he were her own. The neighbor women said, "Now at last Naomi has a son again." And they named him Obed. He became the father of Jesse and the grandfather of David. This is the genealogical record of their ancestor Perez. Perez was the father of Hezron. Hezron was the father of Ram. Ram was the father of Aminadab. Aminadab was the father of Nahshon. Nahshon was the father of Salmon. Salmon was the father of Boaz. Boaz was the father of Obed. Obed was the father of Jesse. Jesse was the father of David. And that has been the book of Ruth. Pretty short reading today, huh? All right, so I'm going to read 2 little short pieces from the Nelson's Bible Dictionary just to round everything out because today was a really short reading. We went through the book of Ruth in 30 minutes, and so I'm going to see if there's any additional information in this dictionary, but I think from what I saw really quick, it's just a summary of it. Arlinda Dorsey says, "I gave my thumbs up." Oh, wait, I missed something. Yes, right after Nicole said checkpoint. Arlinda Dorsey, good morning, everyone. Katatin is saying good morning to Arlinda. That's me popping up as the bot. Somebody got to level 6. That's Katatin. I gave my thumbs up. 10 watching. Please like and thank you. Good morning. I'll be listening in the background. Good old Jeff's in the house from Finley River Kennels. Hey, Kenya, I left you a like. I'm working now. Leaving you running. Thank you so much, Jeff. And hello, everyone. Hello, Finley. God bless everyone. God bless. Stay safe. Much love. All right. So that has pretty much been the reading of Ruth. I'm going to read really quick about Boaz and Ruth. And that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. Boaz. The word Boaz means in him is strength. In him is strength. A wealthy and honorable man of Bethlehem from the tribe of Judah. He was a kinsman of Elimelech, Naomi's husband, and he became the husband of Ruth, Naomi's widowed daughter-in-law. Through their son Obed, Boaz and Ruth became ancestors of King David and of the Lord Jesus Christ. And let's jump ahead to Ruth. The word Ruth means friendship. The mother of Obed and great-grandmother of David, a woman of the country of Moab, Ruth married Mahlon, one of the 2 sons of Elimelech and Naomi. With his wife and sons, Elimelech had migrated to Moab to escape a famine in the land of Israel. When Elimelech and both of his sons died, they left 3 widows, Naomi, Ruth, and Orpah. When Naomi decided to return home to Bethlehem, Ruth chose to accompany her, saying, "Wherever you go, I will go." In Bethlehem, Ruth was permitted to glean in the field of Boaz, a wealthy kinsman of Elimelech. At Naomi's urging, Ruth asked protection of Boaz as next of kin, a reflection of the Hebrew law of levirate marriage. After a nearer kinsman waived his right to buy the family property and provide Elimelech an heir, Boaz married Ruth. Their son Obed was considered one of Naomi's family, according to the custom of the day. Ruth's firm decision, "Your people shall be my people, and your God my God," brought a rich reward. She became an ancestor of David and Jesus. So that's a little bit of extra information from the Bible dictionary. Let me do a quick roll call, and I will send everyone on their way for this fine hump day, this fine Wednesday. Let's see. We've got shout out to Eva Frazier, shout out to The Wiz, shout out to Nicole, shout out to Katata and Cooking Mama's Homestead, shout out to Life of Key, shout out to Orlinda Dorsey, shout out to Finley River Kennels, Jeff, and anybody else come in? All right. That's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. I'll do a quick pray so we can be on our way. And then you can have a great Wednesday. How about that? Lord, thank you for today. Thank you for the health, the wealth of our health this fine Wednesday as we all continue to try our best to stay healthy and safe. I pray health, recovery, and rejuvenation for those of us who have been having health issues, are in any type of pain, even the slightest of cold. I pray healing and health to all in need. I am so thankful for today. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Lord, thank you for the opportunity for me to read my Bible in the comfort and safety of my own home without any persecution, and the miracle of technology to be able to share that with other people in other places and spaces so that we can all fellowship and hear the word together and maybe use some of what we hear and learn in our daily lives, be educated by it, comforted by it, and grow our faith by it. Lord, I pray that everyone listening either now or on the replay is encouraged to read their own Bible and come to their own understanding and build their own relationship with you. That is my prayer. Amen. Everybody, have a great day.
Entrepreneur Drive 40, Entrepreneur Drive, Entrepreneur Drive 40, Entrepreneur Drive, Entrepreneur Drive 40, Entrepreneur Drive. Thanks for watching, share, like, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you at the next Bible reading party, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time.